1 in 400 trillion. This is a scientifically proven probability that you're living right now. The chance that you're living right now is absolutely crazy. But you waste it on scrolling. You just keep consuming and viewing other people's content without ever doing anything. Currently, you're just a number. Your life is probably so uninteresting and boring right now. And it's all because of social media addiction and doom scrolling. But this is fixable. With the 3 strategies I'm going to give you, you can actually start living an interesting, different life instead of being the same as everyone else. And the first thing that you need to do is to have something to work towards. You see, the reason that you scroll so much and you waste so much time is because you don't really have anything that big or exciting to do otherwise. And your brain subconsciously thinks, why would I do anything else when I can just sit here and scroll for another 15 minutes? Logically, why would you stop scrolling? You already know that if you just sit and watch TikToks for a while, your brain's going to get dopamine, so it's going to love watching TikToks because they give short-term pleasure. So you need a very strong reason to stop watching TikToks. And even if you have something to do or you want to work towards a goal, you still scroll because your reason is not strong enough. And here's a weird analogy to help you understand. So let's say doom scrolling takes 100 motivation to overcome. If you have the goal of wanting to grow a business, but you don't really care about it too much, then you'll have like 50 motivation for the goal. But if you increase your amount of motivation by wanting your goal more, once it's over 100 motivation, you'll stop scrolling to actually do your goal. And this applies to all the bad habits, and the more dopamine and short-term pleasure they give you, the more motivation they take to overcome. Right now, you don't care about anything enough that it's going to make you stop scrolling. So why would you stop scrolling? And also, if you had nothing to do and you were just bored, then if you stopped scrolling, what would you do otherwise? Would you just sit there? So you actually need to have stuff in your life that you care about so that they'll make you get off your phone, because doom scrolling just fills all the little gaps in your day when you don't have anything else to do. And that's why it's so convenient. And now the second thing to do is not to be complacent and comfortable with your life. So this kind of relates to the first method, but you actually need to be unhappy with your life. You're told to be grateful for your life, which is great advice, but it should be combined with wanting more and reaching goals. If you're just grateful for your life, you get too comfortable and complacent. You always need to have something to work towards, or else you're just sitting there scrolling. And the fact that you're watching this video right now means that you're living a better life than 90% of people. And it also means that you want to improve. And you've realized that staying on the normal path and just scrolling all day leads to nowhere, and so you want to avoid that path. You want to actually become someone that people admire, and you want to live a greater and happier life. You need to wake up and realize that scrolling is literally just a time sink that will only take you away from this, and any excuse you make for scrolling is just a part of your brain that likes instant gratification talking. Are you really happy with your life? Be honest. Do you really like your current situation? Do you want to improve in any area of your life at all, or are you perfectly fine? Truly think about this for just a minute and answer these questions right now. Chances are you have at least like 5 to 10 different directions that you want to improve in at least a little bit. So get to work. Stop sitting around and scrolling. You have work to do. Time is your most valuable resource. When you lose time, you can never get it back. Ever. And this is an even bigger deal if you're young. Your youth is less than a quarter of your life, and you've decided to sink literal thousands of hours on nothing but wasting time on your phone instead of mastering a skill or working towards a goal. And once you realize this, the third thing to do is to start a dopamine detox. A dopamine detox is just where you don't do anything that gives you dopamine for a short period of time, if you didn't know already. And it's necessary to stop scrolling because although you might have the motivation to work on your goals right now, after a few days you'll lose that motivation and you'll fall back to TikTok. I mentioned how scrolling needs a certain amount of motivation that needs to be beaten in order to stop scrolling. But you don't just have to have more motivation. You can also lower the motivation level that needs to be beaten. So currently, scrolling takes 100 motivation to overcome. Your dopamine receptors are currently tired since you get so much dopamine every day from scrolling and other bad habits. After a dopamine detox though, your brain becomes more sensitive to dopamine. Doom scrolling will now hold less power over you. And this obviously makes it so you need less motivation to get up and actually do things like work towards a goal. From here, doom scrolling is going to become less and less of a habit until you don't even do it anymore. So now that I've convinced you, how do you actually do a dopamine detox? So for just a week, you won't be able to listen to music, scroll, play video games, watch you know what, eat junk food, go on a shopping spree, or indulge in anything bad that'll give you dopamine. You don't need me to tell you what they are. It'll be very obvious what you can and can't do. And you might get the urge to stop the dopamine detox before the week is over, so you'll want to have reminders everywhere of why you're doing this. This can be a phone wallpaper, papers around your room, etc. I did this personally and it saved me from missing out on all of the benefits of a dopamine detox. You can fill your free time that you have now with reading, sports, running, learning, something new like learning a new recipe, etc. And another quick tip for dopamine detoxes is to have a schedule with everything you're going to do so you don't get bored and go back to doom scrolling. If you don't know what to do at a certain time, you can just follow the schedule that you made. And for a more in-depth guide on dopamine detoxes, I've linked the video I used for my dopamine detox personally, which was super useful for me. Now a week might be a while, but the benefits you get from a dopamine detox are absolutely insane and definitely worth it. So firstly, you're going to want to have something big to work towards so you don't don't accidentally go back to scrolling because of boredom. And then you need to remember that you have so many areas you can improve in and an infinitely better life ahead of you if you stop scrolling. And lastly, you want to start a dopamine detox to make scrolling have less power over you. And if you do all three of these things, you will certainly stop scrolling for the better, and you'll be rewarded for it with a better life. The habit of scrolling is very hard to overcome, even with these methods, so never quit and keep working towards getting rid of this horrible addiction. And thank you for listening.